what these companies are doing, they are literally taking your energy. They're taking you. That's why these profiles are free, and they're selling your information or selling you to advertising, right? And what are you getting in return? You're not investing in yourself. You said, you know what? Let me just hold off. Now that I know the game, know how this stuff works. The world works just a certain way, right? That's a distraction for me being able to accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish in my life. Let me hold off on that. I'm spending 2 hours a day doing all this strolling, Netflix and Facebook and all this other stuff. You pumped the brakes on that and said, you know what? I could be investing that time into myself to develop long-term skills. You held yourself accountable versus using an excuse. You said, you know what? I'm going to put that energy, that time back to what I want to accomplish. You figured it out and you gain and learn those skills over that time. I love the fact that you said that. Not only that, I love the fact that you also said you got rid of, or you didn't get rid of necessarily. You didn't say get rid of, but you made the point of distancing yourself from energy that wasn't conducive to your success. Okay? You distance yourself from individuals who wasn't bringing the energy that was going to help you along your journey. So that could be a girlfriend, that could be a boyfriend, whatever it is, right? It could be a family member. If you're saying you're going somewhere and they're saying, you know, because they haven't done it before, I know they mean well, you're absolutely right. They haven't done it before. They don't know many people that do it, right? And you say, I'm going to jump into sales as a woman. They're probably like, oh, well, women aren't in tech sales. Oh, women don't make $100,000 a year. Oh, women, because they don't know. Because they don't know, although they mean well. And then all of a sudden they bring those doubts towards you. And then you say you can't do it. So you distance yourself from those individuals to allow for you to focus on positivity, your mindset. You said watering your mental garden. I love that. That's positive. Not only that, you said you had a partner to hold you accountable. I talk about marriage quite a bit on this channel. I talk about how, for me, it was a battery pack into my overall success as a professional. When I got married, I wanted to achieve more. When I had kids, that desire, burning desire, was there. And my wife holds me accountable for the things that I want to accomplish, the things that I say I'm going to accomplish, and I hold myself accountable for it as well. You have an accountability partner, your husband. You guys are watching positivity, your inspiration, your motivation, watching things that are going to help you move to the next step, right? You watch a movie, whatever it is, some inspiration. You guys are like, you know what? I got to go start this business right away because this guy started this business. That is fantastic, Della. That is absolutely fantastic. I love that you said that. So you did course careers. You did it in a short amount of time by blocking out the noise, the distractions, right? The YouTube channels that aren't helping you get to where you ultimately want to get to, the movies, the people. And you were able to complete it in how many days, Della? How many days were you able to complete course careers?
So I believe like I said, I didn't focus on the time. I think it was 14 days. In that time though, when I was on LinkedIn, I was very intentional. I knew the company I wanted to work for.
Mm,
I knew the exact company. I didn't even know that Troy had a partnership with the company initially. I learned about it while I was in school. Um, and I was adding everybody. I would literally search, and I don't recommend doing it this way because I should have personalized it a little more. Had I known what I know now, I would have going back. I would have personalized it more. But I literally searched the company, and I was just adding everybody. Hey, can you? I'm really trying to get a job. And I was very intentional. There's a goal that you should get to on LinkedIn. I think it's 500, so that it shows 500 plus, and they talk about it in course careers. I made sure that 500 were people from that company that I wanted to work in. So it was almost a no-brainer. And I recently had a conversation with my senior vice president of SMB sales, and he said, I thanked him for the opportunity because I do belong to a very underrepresented group in tech sales, not just in tech sales, but in sales in general.
mhm.
African Americans are underrepresented, as well as African American women
Yep.
and women. So,
Yep.
I got a lot of excuses as to why I couldn't have done it, but
Mm.
I made sure to do it. So I extended, gratitude to my SVP, and he said, "No, Della, like I need to let you know you did some things that put yourself on my radar." And not only was I adding people from there, you got to do something that stands out, right? So everybody can like a post on LinkedIn. Everybody can like it. I made sure to comment, made sure to do those things that would make me stand out. And before I even finished the course careers, I had the VP, one of the VPs at that company that I wanted to work for, reach out to me. I had the internship manager reach out to me. I had the SVP starting to reach out to me. So it was one of those things where I was like, I saw the results, and I was putting 2 hours in. I started putting 4 hours in. I was like, I gotta finish this thing.
No, that is so that's wonderful because LinkedIn, and I talk about this all the time as well too. I talk about LinkedIn because it is a powerful tool for you to get into the door at a company. And I use this analogy all the time, right? Because we've all gone to clubs before and parties or bars or whatever it is. You can go on LinkedIn and submit applications for a role. And if you choose to do just that, it's like you waiting in line for you to potentially get into that club where that line is long, right? It may be in Milwaukee in the wintertime and you're sitting outside, cold, freezing, have no idea when, the next person's going to come out in order for them to let you in. And then when you get to the front of the line, you still got to wait and you still probably have to pay $20 plus the money for the drinks, okay? That's what it's like when you submit an application on LinkedIn. However, we know that there's levels to you getting into a club. There's a side door, there's a back door, there's knowing the bouncer, there's knowing the club manager, there's knowing the whoever else that can get you into it. And when you use LinkedIn the appropriate way, messaging, setting up a premium account, contacting the recruiter, contacting people in the company, showing initiative, it's like you getting VIP treatment. Hey, you know what? I know Della. I'm going to let her on the side because I know she's dope, right? Or she's reached out to me a couple times and I'm going to bump her application up on top of everybody else's who just submitted an application. That's how I look at it when you use tools like LinkedIn the appropriate way. It's like that VIP way of getting into the club or getting access to people. And it sounds like you did the exact same thing for this company. But before you dive deeper into that, Della, tell us about how you find the company because I'm asked a lot. Hey, Antoine, what company should I be looking for? You said you already had a good understanding of the company that you wanted to work for. Where did that come about? Like, how did you figure that piece of it out and so forth? Because I want my audience who are going through this process, going through course careers, and they're asking questions like, what company should I apply for? Well, I typically say the companies that have your values, the companies that you are interested in. It's no different than dating somebody, right? You have your requirements for somebody that you date. You have your requirements for, you should have your same requirements or whatever requirements for the company that you work for. It could be the fact that they are a big company or a small company or a middle-sized company or they have diversity inclusion or whatever it is, right? You have to do your own research to determine what company that you want to work for. You seem to have known that already. How did you figure that out, Della?
So, I initially found out about it when I was in school. So, as I mentioned, I was in school for cybersecurity, and one of the courses that I took was a security awareness training course. And that's one of our products is security awareness training. So, in that course, we had to build our own security awareness training for an organization as if we were, the CISO, et cetera. So, while I was doing my research, I saw some of the products. I was like, man, this is great. I saw the way they positioned it and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it was on the back burner. It was like, oh, well, maybe I can apply once I graduate. And then as I transitioned into tech sales, um, when I spoke with Troy and let him know my background on one of the weekly meetings, he actually mentioned that they had a partnership with them. So it kind of reignited that flame. He's like, it'd be a great company. You're right there in Clearwater. They're right there in Clearwater. It makes sense. It's perfect. He was like, make sure you do your research. So I started doing my research. He had a webinar, and Troy, he only works with very fantastic companies. That's one
Mm,
thing I will say. The companies he works for are very top tier.
mhm,
He's not going to steer you astray. So definitely trust his judgment. I think one thing I would do is really figure out what you're passionate about.
mm,
Because if you believe in what you're selling, if you're passionate about it, you won't ever work. You're not
mm,
going to work. I don't view it as me selling. I don't really look at how much I make. I don't really look at like what I'm doing. I realize that, putting this information out, what I have to provide helps people save their livelihood.
mm,
Like people understanding and knowing what to look for in an email, that can prevent them from losing their job, that can
mm,
prevent them from losing money. So find out what you're passionate about, and find something that aligns with, like you said, aligns with your values, aligns with your passions, and really a company that demonstrates that. One thing I did, I was very methodical about the company, and really vetting the companies, and I would run them through Troy, like, hey, what do you think about this, what do you think about that, and he would let me know, nope, stay away from that. This is the game plan with that stay away from them. Try this, try that. So as I was researching know before, I saw that, not only do they say that they are big on diversity and inclusion, 50% of the employees are women.
mm,
So their money was where their mouth was.
mm. Yep.
And I wanted to see that what you say on your website is not just words, cute, pretty, fancy words that the PR team told you to put out there. And so I went on LinkedIn. I'm seeing a lot of women. I see women in high positions. I see women in leadership. I see women that have been promoted. I see women who came in as the same role that I'm coming in or thinking about coming in as, and they've made it to VP so those things were important to me, seeing that growth and seeing that the organization is really invested in me versus just me, being another number.
Mm.
That mattered a lot to me.